Dear viewers, today I want to share with you one of the most shocking stories of infidelity that will pierce your heart and leave you speechless. Think of your spouse, the woman you thought was your faithful friend and life partner, suddenly plunging you into an abyss of betrayal and lies. She texts her former lover, igniting a passion you never knew existed. And then, in an instant, she jumps into this man's arms, traitorously leaving you with a broken heart and shaking emotions. In this video, this amazing stories of cheating wife, we will delve into the dark and confusing realm of love intrigue, take an honest look at the despicable cheating wife, and try to figure out what makes people plunge into such abysses of betrayal. Welcome to this world where truth collides with lies and fate weaves its mysterious webs. As we begin, my story is long, so please listen to the rest of it. I need help and advice, especially from the female sex. You understand each other better? Thank you in advance for your time. I have a wife of 8 months. I am 35. My wife is 30. Before me, she had a very long relationship with a young man, about 8 years. He was her first true love, first man. They had been through fire and water together, lived together for 5 years, had family together. His mother was almost her best friend. And then last summer, he left her without really explaining anything. I can probably even understand it. I used to do the same thing myself. I just got tired of it. It boiled over, and you're still young. And there are a lot of beautiful girls around. 3 months after they broke up, she met me. There was a stormy romance. Everything spun like a kaleidoscope. Anyway, it didn't take long for us to get married. The wedding was 2 months after we met. Yeah, I know I was stupid. I should have looked harder. Yes, I realize now that I may have become a compensatory lover for her, if you can call it that, but the feelings were strong, at least for me. And we, without thinking twice, got married. It was a month after the celebration. We returned from Thailand. My wife went to the hospital with a bad cold. Thinking coming to the hospital, I found out that my ex-boyfriend had been writing to her and asked if she was all right. I did not pay any attention to it. It was a normal human relationship, after all. They had lived together for so long. They had been together so much. After discharge, we began to live together. And then I once noticed that she was texting with her ex, let her know that I do not like it, but gently, without a scandal. She said there was nothing wrong with it. They were just friends. And then some time later, a few days later, 2 days later, I found out again that they were corresponding. This time, it was more serious and we argued. She said again that she was going to do it anyway because there was nothing wrong with it. In short, there was a scandal. A day later, she said that she would no longer communicate with him. She told him that, and that was it, as if the conflict is over. I said, okay, well, good that you understood everything. But you know, in my head settled a kind of worm. I decided to double check, and yes, double check. Installed on my home laptop, on my computer, special programs that remember everything that is entered from the keyboard. Took her phone at night and used it to access her personal account management office on the website of Beeline, where you could make details of calls and messages, and began to see what would happen. I understand, yes. I understand this is low and mean, but listen, in war as in war, a week passes. I see that she is still texting with him from his phone. A pity, of course, the text cannot be read in detail, and so densely corresponds to 10 to 15, 20 messages a day. That is, obviously, not high as it happens. I decided to keep silent and not swear at that time. I think, well, unlikely things. Why spoil relations at the beginning of the marriage? I wait a week. All messages go both ways, and clearly the initiator is her, not him. The first message is always from her. Next, I look at the computer and see who writes what to whom. I read my wife telling her friend that she constantly sees her ex-boyfriend in her dreams. She looks at me, sees him, but loves me, but constantly thinks about him. She writes to her that they say that soon it will be February 14, and you think about the ex. Hello, wake up. Hey, and my wife gives her. And I am more worried of February 20. It is their anniversary with my ex bullshit balls. Understandably the scandal. She explained it by the fact that just very used to the man. No feelings, but the strongest habit. I love. Well, somehow we survived it all. I digested it. Just a week later, I look again. They correspond. On the day of her anniversary, he texted me at 4 a.m. He did not answer. I guess I got him quite sick of it. In the evening, I call my wife for a conversation, but I don't tell her everything. I say that I know something there and so on. Just asking if he communicates there corresponds. She means looking me in the eye, says that no, calmly, so confidently, not knowing exactly would have believed me. But then I just boiled everything. I go to her computer with a printout file of their text messages. I say, so what the heck? Why is a married woman texting with other men 24/7? Why are you lying to me? And why are you calling him? There was even a call from her side, by the way, but then followed the reproach that I think that I do not belong and that it is not my business. That I myself am to blame because of my reaction. She's forced to hide from me. We argued, she stands her ground. In the end, I slammed the door and sent her away. A day later, she wrote to me, apologized, told me again that there was nothing there and that she would definitely not be in touch with him anymore. In short, with the worst of it, we closed the conflict, began to live on. But the residue that I have left, not just a huge and terribly unpleasant. After 5 months, it has not gone anywhere and continues to eat me from the inside. I am not an idiot. I understand what this correspondence is. It is not a communication of friends. I understand that the wife has not cooled down to him and that she wants to somehow prolong their relationship. At least in my mind, that's exactly what it is. Well, okay. I think okay. I'll be a model husband. I'll knock him out of her mind from time to time. Next, after a month, about 4 months ago, I accidentally came across her correspondence with a friend in which she wrote that her ex-boyfriend dreams about sex with him. But it is okay. My brain cannot help it. I can also sometimes dream about sex with another girl, but it doesn't mean anything. But what she wrote in the end hurt me. It was that we had great relations with Xenia. I wish it could never happen again. Everything after these words just blew my mind. It was so offensive. You have no idea. Why she thinks that such things will never happen to me. What am I bad? I make excellent money. I have my own business. I do not drink, do not smoke. She does not do a damn thing, sitting at home while she almost had to support her ex. I listened to her, decided that maybe I really pay not enough attention to her. It hurt, but still we should admit our faults. I decided to communicate with her more or something, to let her into my soul, to have a feeling of closeness. And you know, it helped. Actually, relations began to strengthen, but with one proviso, from time to time, she continues to correspond with her in contact, Skype and email. Of course, I do badly, but I check periodically what she writes, and to whom, sad experience gives. She writes, and to whom, sad experience gives in itself to know. Yes, it is rare, once every 2 weeks, or even a month. Yes, there is probably no crime, but I am very much strained by the nature of the messages. Firstly, she always writes first to him, no claims otherwise. I would have long ago rolled into asphalt on the road. Secondly, he writes not for the cause, but for nothing. Thirdly, the message has some strange coloring. In my opinion, they smell something or other, as if there is no crime in them. But also just a message to me. It cannot be called. Congratulations, SDR. I wish to meet your beloved. I wish to find happiness. It was very good with you. Thank you for this month. Thank you for these years and so on. I mean, strangers do not correspond like that. Friends do not either. Moreover, looking back, I understand that it all might be for a reason and hell knows what I got into. All these months. I've been trying to digest what was going on at the beginning of our marriage. I've been shaken by her ex. I have a strong feeling that something is wrong. Something is not as good as it could be. As if I think that my wife does not love me as much as she could. Him. And then yesterday by chance, this time actually by chance, I came across their correspondence. She congratulates him on something, again with a lot of smiley faces, and it is not a holiday or rather a reason she just found. He has no emotions, does not even answer. In 2 weeks, she writes to him again, asks him questions about life, how was the vacation, and so on. But I feel that they do not communicate with strangers, with friends, with anyone. We had another fight about it. She said that I was paranoid, that I was out of my mind, that it was just friendship and nothing more. I said, what about the fact that I've been trying to get it into your head for 6 months? And I don't like it. She just accuses me in return. That is, she is ready to go to conflicts with me just to correspond with him without a reason. And I've always told her, and I always told her that if he wrote, I would not ask her to send him. You should be polite too, and you should not lose your human face, of course. Just do not write him yourself. You humiliate me and yourself by that. She did, but in a week or 2 or 3, I find some message from her to him again. And just a week ago, probably the most unpleasant event happened. That's what it is. I will tell you. My wife came and reported that she's pregnant. Finally, yes. I love her and wanted a child from her. Have you heard anything about varicose? I think that is how it is called. A diagnosis I heard as a young teenager. What it means that the chance to have a baby man while tiny, everything works well. But yes, vessels there do not give sufficient quantity. Well, I will not describe it. Maybe not everyone is interested, but you know what I mean. If they just communicate, how can a man who is practically, that is 99 incapable of having a child? Child, what do you think, friends? What can it be? And what do I do? Here I sit in the office and think, I have to get a divorce. Although here again, she is pregnant. And what if the child is really mine? Edoheim, I can no longer tolerate this feeling that you are a husband who has eaten pears. The ex is probably laughing about it there. And now onto the second story. Friends, today I want to tell you a story that will show you just how complicated and confusing the way spouses can be. Imagine that your wife, the woman with whom you have built a family and share all the joys and hardships, cheats on you. But this time, not with someone random, but with your boss. You have to face the humiliation and abuse demanded of you by your own wife. How can you maintain your dignity and understand how this all happened? This is this video, amazing stories of cheating wife, dramas of destiny. We will go through a whirlwind of emotions together and face the truth behind the sinister betrayal. But it's important to remember that even in the most difficult situations, there is a way out, and fate can give us unexpected surprises. Are you ready to dive into this story and find out what secrets and mysteries it hides? Then welcome to a world of dramatic twists and surprising tales of infidelity. We begin. Good afternoon, everyone. My story is in 2 parts and proves that there is some kind of global justice and retribution or something in the world. This part is pretty corny, but it comes out pretty interesting when coupled, although the problem is in the second part. I think it's best to start with a kind of preface. My spouse and I have been together for 11 years, married almost 7. We have an adorable daughter. She is 6. We both have a heart for her. My spouse is a real treasure for the family art. She cooks, runs the household, she's beautiful, and she takes care of her husband. I say this not because I love her very much, but it's how it really is. There is truth in a fly in an ointment, and the intimacy plan, alas, not the most passionate hurricane. This is an important point for the story. I myself am a rather romantic person, but in my early years got into a relationship with an immoral woman, and the visual effect of this trait has blown me away. In other words, I feel that I outwardly manifest a cut version, and this is also an important point in the whole story. Apology, so to speak. In the intimate plane, my interests are much wider than those of my spouse. And here begins the first part of the story. The pieces, but I became more and more interested in other girls. Only favorable conditions were needed to cross this line, and they certainly came together. I cheated. I wanted to pick another word, but the other options seemed hypocritical to me or something, and that would have been half the trouble. But I made a monstrous mistake and continued the relationship with that girl, seeing what would come of it. I didn't think at the time. The serotonin took over my mind completely. I was so happy that I foolishly almost shared the good news with my wife, just like that, over dinner. In the end, it was obvious that we must do something. In a suspended state to live further cannot. I proposed a divorce. Tears, snot, pleading, screaming, suicide attempts, scenic worth noting, threats, curses, there was everything. I, as gentle man, I almost gave in. I just felt sorry for a lot. But I knew that no matter how painful, the point must be put, and I was adamant. A little time passed. I was living at the studio for a few days, but I continued also to meet my new girlfriend, and one night, sitting at work, I was shocked. I suddenly realized that I was making a cruel mistake, that my wife is the only person close to me, not counting the child, and no perverted sex cannot replace what I was losing. In short, it hit me, and I came home that night. Establishment of the family bond went with a squeak, but things were getting better one way or another. I took for myself the valuable lesson that there is love, and then there's falling in love. It got even better, but as time went on, everyday life began to overshadow our family life once again. At the same time, something inside me changed, and I became extremely irritable. Not only in the family, but in general. I began to explode out of me like a volcano. But I still treated my wife with warmth and love, although it was no longer noticeable. And here we come to the second part of this long story. About a few months ago, I began to notice at some subconscious level that my wife began to distance from me. I did not pay attention to this at first, but in the last month, her aloofness was striking. New Year, we decided to spend together such an intimate dinner in semi-darkness. The child was taken even to his parents. And here we are sitting, and I see that she just falls asleep. All this nonsense does not cause her any emotions. Well, here's the whole additional set. Delays from work, urgent business trips to another city emphasize this important point. She from me, was visiting her brother, wanted to take her phone to look at the time, just lying closer and hours flew up to snatch. Almost in jest say, I almost ugly said, what is it? Intimate correspondence with a secret friend. Show me. She, oh okay. I wanted to surprise you. Agreed on a disc with a game. Yes. I love video games. The phone did not show, by the way. I'm not stupid. I thought immediately on this subject. Several times I tried to talk like this. Honestly, direct questions. You have someone. And she said, how can you think that? You know how I feel about you. I thought, well, it's true. I can think anyone, but no, not her. Not that I am naive fool, just really. If someone had lived with us all these years too, would not have believed in such a possibility. Because in the first place for her has always been the family home. The more terrible for me was what was opened later. One morning my daughter was sitting in the kitchen, having breakfast before the preparatory classes. I decided to lie down for a while. My wife came in and lay down too, and come closer to me. No, this is not the beginning of a karate scene, no. And she answered me. Oh wait, I cannot, splashed in the nose and head up. Then I woke up Sherlock. I son, what air pouring me? I can't do it. I splashed on my nose and held my head up. I woke up Sherlock, and I said, you're pouring it on me. The demand ran out yesterday. I took baby drops myself. What difference does it make? We had a fight. She took the child to school. I went crazy into her contact. Thank goodness. It works autofill forms. Thank the great Google. From that moment, my life was divided into before and after. The weather that I knew ceased to exist. That's right, without exaggeration. I roared like a child. Honestly tell you, the essence is about the following. So over a month, she meets with another man. Although a man it can hardly be called, and yes, sleep with him. Yes. That's right, here are the most urgent business trips. Judging by the contents of their correspondence, they did not just fucking split up, but the full package with courtship and sunset admiration. Then the hardest part of the day in my life. The mutual accusation, clarification of relations. If you suddenly imagine a similar situation, then you know how you will act. Of course, the impenetrable look, the demands of divorce, and of course, a proud walk into the sunset. But in fact, I was not prepared for this. 7 in the morning. I happy man, not without reservations, but a happy seed, and now I have nothing. It's like the news of the sudden death of a loved one. For some reason, this analogy comes to mind. How come? You were still talking to him in the morning. I say I will break his legs. Gee, it's not about him. Do not you dare. It's only about us. Begging her, give us a chance, and do not leave me for him. In short, on a scale of self-esteem, I have already fallen behind. Her position in the end, it's all my fault. I did not pay enough attention. She's right in part, although it's a banal excuse. He has nothing to do here, it's our business. She does not know whether he wants or not. Trying to fix something. She needs time. I feel that there is no life without her, but also a terrible resentment like a worm inside grinding. I can't sleep. I can't eat. My head is full of thoughts of being sent to another city for work, or of having a massage appointment after work. And I have to be at work at 7 o'clock today. And she has to work from 9 o'clock, etc. Dear experts, listen to the screen. Is it worth trying to make something work? The experience from the first part suggests that it is possible to adjust. If so, how to incline the unfaithful to the same idea. She now allegedly does not know how to act, and here's more. If it works, how to survive such an offense? Dear author, the story is really very interestingly written. I enjoyed reading it. Hope it pleased our users, but that we will see by the number of likes under this clip. So closer to the point, from myself, there are only a few words as a comment. I think that a man cannot forget it in any case. Yes, right as a woman, most likely, but in a woman's body I have not been, or rather in her brain. It is worth noting, so I will not assert. Here, it is better to listen to more authoritative, wiser, and people who are much older than me in the comments. Therefore, dear listeners, please answer the questions of the author. You can go back for a minute and listen to them again. If you suddenly have forgotten, it will be interesting to read and hopefully it will somehow help the author. And I thank you for listening to these videos, for subscribing to the channel as well as for putting your likes. This is the best thanks to me for my work for you. Also, thanks for listening and for hearing. See you soon!